guys, my name is Vivica Martinez and today we're going to be making some pumpkin rolls with the cream cheese filling. So first we're going to go ahead and start off with our dry ingredients. So the first thing we're going to do is 3/4 of all-purpose flour, cups. There. And then the next thing we're going to do is 1/2 teaspoon of ground cloves into there. And then the next one is the same thing, 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon, ground cinnamon. And then we're going to do another 1/2 of baking powder. And then we're going to do a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And then we're going to do one more ingredient, which is the baking soda. So we'll go ahead and get that, and then I'll be back. And what we're going to do is, all you're going to simply do is just mix it like this. But of course, with the 1/2 teaspoon of the baking soda. And then once we come back, we're going to then focus on the wet ingredients. Do that. Spread it out on the sheet, and then the last thing we'll do is the cream cheese filling, and then put it all together. Okay guys, so before we go into the wet ingredients, you guys do need to have your oven preheated at 375, and I will go ahead and drop some pictures or a little clip of what your dry ingredients should look like mixed, and then what your 3 wet ingredients should look like. And in here I have 3 large eggs, 1 cup of grated sugar, and 2/3 of a cup of pure pumpkin. So then I'm just going to make sure it's lifted, and then just mix it all up together as so. So this is what it should look like after it is done mixing. And then the next step we're going to do is combine the wet and the dry ingredients together. Okay, so now we're just gonna add a little mix. You can do both together simultaneously. If you can multitask, great. I can't, so I'll just continue adding, stirring, and then continue again. And then I will be back once this is all done mixing, and then I'll show you guys what it should look like. Okay, so this is what it should look like after mixing the dry and wet ingredients together. Next, we will be adding this to the pan and spreading it out evenly. Okay, so for the next step, you're going to need a 10x15 pan. If you have any other pan, that's fine, but this is the preferred size. You can get a good size pumpkin roll. So we're going to just put it in. You can just put it all together like this, and then you'll eventually spread it out. It's important to spread it out evenly, because if you do put it in the oven and it's not even, you will start to see bubbles rising. However, it's trial and error, so if that happens, that's okay too. It'll just fix itself once we start rolling it out, and you guys will see that soon. So once you feel like you got as much as you could out of this, which I feel like I have, just start moving it around. Make sure you guys do get the corners too. It's not going to be perfect, but I do like to have things as perfect as possible. So I'm just gonna play with it. And then what you're going to do after you're doing this is you're going to bake for 12 minutes. It is supposed to be for 15 because that is the normal standard time, but sometimes, like me, if you already have the oven previously heated from doing a different batch, it's already going to be hot. So it's important to always check at I'd say the 11 mark. Get the toothpick, do the toothpick test. For those who don't know what that is you're just gonna stick the toothpick in the pumpkin, or if it was a cake or brownie, you do all of those. And then if it comes out that when you take the toothpick out and there's no bread or any of these little things attached to it on the toothpick, then it is done. And you will need mittens too, because you don't want to burn yourselves. So it's important that we do that. And then finally, after this, once we get this going, the last step that we have to do is the cream cheese filling, which is to make. And then I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm back with this. So it's gonna look something like this, but to just really double check to make sure it's even, you're going to pick up the pan, let it go and let it drop. So it'll be very loud. So I'll only do one time so you can see what I mean. Like that. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do while the pumpkin roll is in the oven is you're going to need to get a very thin like cloth. These are usually the ones that you may put in your hanging on your stove, and this is something you need to do pretty quickly. And you're gonna put powdered sugar all over the cloth, and you want to get a lot. So don't be scared and don't be shy. Mix it. So I'm going to spread it out now. Just put that to the side. And you want to get all the corners too. So you can see I put a lot, but still need to get it all out here. And it's okay, this process is going to be one of the messiest things that you have to do for this. And all you have to do is just wipe it off and your kitchen will survive, I promise. And then you just do that, make sure you're getting it all over the place. If you feel like you need to add more because you personally don't think it's enough, that's okay. Go ahead and do that. And then once this is done, I just like to do is get the residue off me. You're going to take the pumpkin roll out, and then you're going to immediately flip it over, put it on this, and slowly take the parchment paper off. And you want to be very careful because you don't want to peel it too fast where it breaks apart, because then there's going to be a problem and you're going to have to start all over from scratch. But usually that doesn't happen, and I'm pretty sure you guys know what rough is, what it isn't. And then that's that. So the next time I come back, we're going to be demonstrating how to do it, how to flip it, and don't forget to be checking at that 11-minute mark with the toothpick. So we'll be back. Might be a little hot, but so you can just see really quickly, this is a little bit still remaining before the 11-minute mark. So don't panic, just wait till the 11 minutes and then you can check. And if it's good, you do not need to wait the 15 minutes. You can just already take it out. Okay, so I already took it out. Just want to be quick as possible. Midden stuff, that's it. Just like that. Don't take off your mittens. Just keep it there. And then just get the pan out of the way. And then this is where you're going to slowly just want to take it apart, the parchment paper. It smells very good. I don't know if you guys can see the heat. And that is my timer. Stop real quick. All right. And then it's done like this, you're going to just roll it, and there is going to be a little piece of the towel like this on it, but that's okay. And then just roll it up. And then once it's like this, you're just gonna get two little pieces, something just to clamp it like this to hold it. So when we come back, we will then be working on the cream cheese. Okay, so after you're done rolling, this is what it should look like. And then you wanna put two little ties. I put little elastics, and it should look basically like a long Tootsie Roll. So while this is finishing drying, we're gonna do the last step, which is the cream cheese filling. So we're going to need 6 tablespoons of softened butter. So when you rip it, it should look like this. It should not be very hard. If it is, that's fine. You can just put it in the microwave for about 10 seconds and take it out. You don't want the butter too melted or anything like that. And then we're going to go ahead and add 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. And then this last thing is 1 cup of sifted powdered sugar. Now you're going to use a tool like this, so if I do this, it should make like a really loud noise, and you can see some of it's falling apart. And that's what you want to do. You can put it in here, do it after, or do what I did. It was already just pour it and then just mess with it to just make it more light. And then don't be scared to put your hands in there. And once that's good, we're going to go ahead and get 1 full Philadelphia cream cheese. Now this is the main ingredient, so you don't want to forget this, and it does need to be soft like the butter. You do not want it very hard. And you would like to make it room temperature. That's what it should be. So I'm peeling it. And it needs to be 8 ounces. In the Philadelphia cheese, you can see it on the side of the thing, the ounces, and just get it out of here. I'm just gonna squeeze it. Now once you've taken everything out, so it might get stuck, that's okay. We want to toss this, and then don't be scared to get a little spatula. So if you're using a mixer and it is getting stuck onto this, just stop it every now and then to scrape everything off, and then just turn it on again. So that's what we're going to do. Let me lift it and then turn it on. So I'm going to stop, and then just make sure there's nothing on here. If there is, just put it down. Turn it back on really quickly just to finish off. And then I am going to stop it real quick since there is some leftover powder. I want to just make sure that we're getting all of it. So this is what you want to do too with the pumpkin batter. If you see it rising, make sure you get it on, put it down so that it can all get mixed very good. So I'm gonna give it a last run. this does look ready. So we're going to bring it down. And then I'm going to unclip this. And you can see what it looks like. Give it a taste if you like. And then just scrape it. I usually like to just put it in a clear bowl like this, so that I can clean this, and if I'm going to do a next batter, I can just already go on to the next and not have to worry about it, which that's what I'll do next. And then while the pumpkin roll is finished cooling off, the last step is just to undo the little ties and then roll it out, spread the cream cheese, and then just roll it back, which we will do in a second. And we'll be right back. Okay guys, so it's been about an hour. You want to wait an hour, or whenever you think it's already cooled down. It does need to cool down. So the next thing we're going to do is just undo the little things with the ligas. We tied it pretty tight. And then we're going to, might get a little bit like that, but that's okay. Just roll it back on out. Like this. And then we're going to put the cream cheese filling that we already made. And then after this, we are going to transfer it to parchment paper. That's just what I had. So we're going to put some powdered sugar on it, just to not make it stick, but saran wrap is preferred. Like, that's something you'd want to get before, like, even this is like last resort, and I'm on last resort because I was definitely not going to make a trip back to the store, so we'll use what we have. And then what if you want to add more filling, you can. Probably think. Okay, I think that's about it that I want to add on here. So next thing, we're going to go ahead and put the powdered sugar before we put and then we'll just roll this gently. Like this. Right there is pretty good. Scoot this on more to the end. Bring this up and just spread it. It's not going to be as flat as what it's spreading on the cloth, because again, it is parchment paper, but just so it has some all over, just so it doesn't stick really bad. Just there's a little bit everywhere. And then we get this I'll lift it up. Start from here. You can get some powdered sugar and sprinkle at the top. Just go like this. It will survive. And then this next step, you just roll it and then do the 2 little knots like we did with this. And then you're going to put it in the fridge to let it cool again. And then in about an hour or so, you can go ahead and take it out and it'll be ready for you to cut into pieces. Put them in little goodie bags for friends and family. And that is it. So this is what the pumpkin rolls would look like after you cut them. I had it already in a plate with a different variety of desserts, but I just wanted to show you all real quick to close out the video how the pumpkin rolls came out after I cut them, and they are delicious.